The driver is the most exciting club in the bag. It is the one that promises distance, power, and the thrill of watching the ball soar down the fairway. But for many golfers, the driver is also the most frustrating club they own. One swing sends the ball flying straight and long, exactly how it should. The next swing slices hard into the trees. Another one barely gets airborne. And sometimes the ball rockets off the tee with incredible speed, but it curves wildly away from the fairway. After a while, it starts to feel like the driver has a personality of its own. But here's the truth that surprises many golfers. The problem usually is not the swing itself. In many cases, the real issue begins before the club even moves. It begins in the setup. That quiet moment before the swing holds more power than most players realize. The way you position your body, the way the ball sits in your stance, the angle of your spine, and even how high the ball is teed up all combine to determine what kind of shot you are about to hit. Many golfers spend years trying to perfect complicated swing mechanics when the real solution is sitting right in front of them. Because the driver is different from every other club in the bag. Irons are designed to strike the ball on a downward motion, but the driver is built for something completely different. It is designed to strike the ball on a slightly upward path. That single difference changes everything about how the setup should look. Yet countless golfers unknowingly set up to the driver exactly the same way they set up to an iron. And that is where the problems begin. Picture a golfer stepping onto the tee box. The fairway stretches out ahead like a runway. The goal is simple: hit the ball long and straight. But when the setup is incorrect, the swing has to invent strange adjustments just to make contact. The body tilts awkwardly. The club approaches the ball at the wrong angle. The ball launches too low, or spins too much, or slices into the rough, all because the starting position was wrong. The perfect driver setup is not complicated, but it is incredibly precise. Once you understand it, something fascinating happens. The swing suddenly becomes easier. Let us start with the ball position, because this is one of the biggest differences between irons and the driver. With irons, the ball sits near the center of the stance, but with the driver, the ball must move forward, much farther forward. In fact, the ball should be positioned near the inside of the lead foot. For a right-handed golfer, that means near the inside of the left heel. This position allows the club head to reach the lowest point of the swing arc before it reaches the ball. As the club continues forward, it begins to travel upwards slightly. That upward motion is exactly what the driver needs. It launches the ball higher with less spin, which creates longer drives. But if the ball sits too far back in the stance, the club strikes it while still moving downward. The result is a low shot with excessive spin, often accompanied by a slice. That one small adjustment in ball position can dramatically change ball flight. Now let us talk about something that many golfers never think about at all: tee height. It might seem like a minor detail, but tee height can completely change how the driver performs. When the ball is teed too low, the golfer is forced to swing down just to make contact. That defeats the entire purpose of the driver design. On the other hand, when the ball is teed at the correct height, the club head can approach it from below and strike it on the upswing. A helpful visual rule is this: when the driver rests behind the ball at address, roughly half of the ball should appear above the top edge of the club face. That height encourages the upward strike that produces maximum distance. Now imagine standing on the tee with the ball perfectly positioned near the front heel and teed at the correct height. Already, the conditions for a powerful drive are beginning to take shape. But there is another key element that separates driver setup from iron setup. It is the tilt of the spine. Many golfers unknowingly stand perfectly straight over the ball when using the driver. Their shoulders level out, their spine becomes vertical, and their body loses the ability to swing upward. The correct driver setup includes a slight tilt of the upper body away from the target. For a right-handed golfer, the right shoulder sits slightly lower than the left shoulder. This tilt is subtle, but it plays a massive role in the swing. It positions the body so the club naturally travels upward into the ball. Without that tilt, the golfer must artificially manipulate the swing to create the upward strike, and artificial adjustments rarely produce consistent results. Now let us look at another piece of the puzzle that many golfers misunderstand: weight distribution. With iron shots, the weight starts slightly favoring the lead foot, but with the driver, the balance shifts slightly in the opposite direction. At address, a little more weight sits on the back foot. Not dramatically, but just enough to support that spine tilt away from the target. This positioning allows the golfer to launch the ball higher and strike it with more power. But there is something interesting about this position. Even though the weight begins slightly on the back foot, the swing itself still moves toward the target during the downswing. The setup simply creates the correct conditions for a powerful strike. Now let us talk about stance width. Because the driver produces the fastest swing in golf, the body needs a stable base to support that speed. This means the stance should be wider than it is for iron shots. A wider stance improves balance and allows the golfer to rotate more aggressively without losing stability. Professional golfers often position their feet roughly shoulder width apart or even slightly wider when hitting driver. That stable base helps generate power while maintaining control. Now imagine the entire picture coming together. The ball is positioned near the front heel. The tee height allows half the ball to sit above the club face. The spine tilts slightly away from the target. The weight rests gently toward the back foot. The stance is wide and stable. At this moment, something important has already happened. The body is prepared to hit the driver the way it was designed to be hit. Before the swing even begins, the shot already has direction. But there is another small detail that separates average drives from great ones. It is the position of the hands. With irons, the hands often sit slightly ahead of the ball at address. But with the driver, the hands should be more neutral, almost aligned with the club head. If the hands move too far forward, the shaft leans excessively and reduces the loft of the driver. This can cause low, weak shots that struggle to stay in the air. Keeping the hands neutral allows the driver to use its natural loft to launch the ball properly. Now pause for a moment and imagine standing on a tee box with this setup. Everything feels organized, balanced, prepared. Instead of guessing how the swing should work, the setup has already guided the body into the correct structure. That is the beauty of a great driver setup. It simplifies the swing. Many golfers believe power comes from swinging harder. They try to force the club through the ball with maximum effort. But true distance in golf rarely comes from force alone. It comes from efficiency. When the setup is correct, the club approaches the ball from the ideal angle. Energy transfers smoothly from the body into the club head. The ball launches higher, travels farther, and carries down the fairway with that beautiful rising flight that every golfer loves to see. Have you ever watched a professional golfer hit a driver in slow motion? The swing looks powerful, but it also looks smooth. There is no violent struggle to create speed. The motion flows naturally from the body. That smooth power begins with the setup. Because when the setup places the body in the correct position, the swing can simply follow the structure that is already in place. Now here is an interesting thought. Think about how many drivers you have hit in your life. Hundreds, maybe thousands. And how many of those swings began with a rushed setup? Many golfers step onto the tee, drop a ball on the tee, glance at the fairway, and swing within seconds. But the best players in the world do something different. They take their time building the setup. They place the club carefully behind the ball. They align their stance. They confirm their spine tilt. They check their ball position. These small steps only take a few seconds, but they create the foundation for the entire swing. Golf rewards preparation. The swing itself happens in less than 2 seconds, but the setup determines what those 2 seconds will produce. So the next time you stand on a tee box with your driver in hand, resist the urge to rush. Take a moment. Place the ball near your front heel. Tee it high enough to encourage an upward strike. Tilt your spine slightly away from the target. Let your stance widen for stability. Feel the balance in your feet. Now swing, because when the setup is correct, something amazing happens. The driver begins to behave the way it was meant to behave. The ball launches high. The distance increases. The fairway begins to look wider, and the game of golf becomes just a little bit more enjoyable. The perfect drive does not begin with a powerful swing. It begins with the perfect setup. The perfect driver setup finally explained. Most golfers struggle with their driver. Slices, weak shots, low drives that barely get airborne. But the surprising part is this. The problem usually isn't the swing. It's the setup. A few small setup mistakes can make it almost impossible to hit the driver correctly. In this video, you'll learn the perfect driver setup and the simple adjustments that help you launch the ball higher, hit it farther, and keep it in the fairway. Because before the swing even begins, the shot has already started. Why driver setup is different. The driver is not designed to hit the ball the same way irons do. Irons strike the ball on a downward angle. The driver is designed to strike the ball slightly upward. That single difference changes everything about the setup. Yet many golfers unknowingly set up to the driver exactly the same way they set up to an iron. And that's where problems begin. Before your next drive, remember the perfect drive starts with the right setup, not the swing. So take a moment to set up correctly. And if you want more simple golf tips to improve your game, make sure to subscribe to the channel.